Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and today I'm taking a look at a two-player abstract game called Aqualin. In this game, we are trying to make groups of sea creatures is the idea, and one player is going to be trying to create groups based on the creature, which makes sense. The other player is trying to create groups based on the colors of the tiles, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean thematically, but again, it's an abstract strategy game is really what it is. Two players back and forth. At the end of the game, you're going to score up and see who the winner is. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this works. I'm going to show you on the table. We'll come on back after that. I'll give you some final thoughts. Here we've got the game set up, ready to go. This is it. Just a board, a pool of tiles face down and shuffled up, and then we reveal 6 from which to draft, and we're going to get going. So one player is going to be scoring the tiles at the end of the game based on the colors, the groups of colors. The other player is going to be doing the same thing based on the groups of critters, of animals. So the shape itself. And I'm actually going to be playing on this side for the shape. On this side, we'll assume the player sitting there is playing for colors. At the end of the game, the board will be completely filled. And then you are going to score here based on the size of the group. So if I have a group of 4 tiles, that's going to get me 6 points. If I have a group of 6 tiles together of either the shape or color, depending on which one thing I'm scoring for, then I'll get 15 points for that, and so on. Whoever has the highest score, of course, is the winner. So I'm going to go ahead and start and show you what a turn looks like. So every turn has 3 parts. First, you can move a sea creature. I'm going to skip that because there's nothing on the board. Second step, I can place one, or I have to place one. And then third, I replenish the pool. So I'm going to go ahead and play this there. Then I replenish this. It's my opponent's go. They may move this. Whenever you move something out here, it moves in a straight line until it, you can move it until it hits something else or hits the edge, or you can, those are your options. So my opponent could move this here, for example. And then they will play this one here. And then they replenish this. It's back to me. I am going to move this one here. And I'm going to play that there because I want these shapes together. Goes back to them. They're going to move this here. And they're going to add that tile there, trying to make like colors together. Comes back to me. I am going to break this up. And I am going to add this fish there. All right. Back to my opponent. They will go here. And they are going to play this one there to try to keep those fish from interacting anymore. Replenish that. Comes back to me. I might move this one down here, let's say, just to break it up, and then maybe put something in between them, or maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll go put this down there and put this one here, something like that. But of course, my opponent might be able then to do this. So that's the idea. That's how that works. You keep going back and forth until the board is filled. You score. You see who the winner is. That is Aqualin, which I have to say really feels like a game that came out many years ago. It has that vibe about it. This 2-player back and forth game, 2-player package, the look, the entire vibe here. I don't know, it doesn't feel like a brand new game to me. This feels like a circa 2000, 2005 kind of board game for 2. And so that's and I couldn't break that feeling. I couldn't shake that. Unfortunately, it kind of feels that way. So let's go ahead and talk about it, okay? Overall, I'm really kind of middle of the road with this game. I'm going to see if I can explain to you why. So theme gets a thumbs down. It's an abstract game. They tried to put a theme on it. It doesn't really work. The schools of animals kind of works. But then the color thing makes no sense in that scenario, right? Don't like that. It's just, it clashes for me. I have a hard time with it. It's not the biggest issue in here, but it's one that's problematic, and it really didn't need to be. The aesthetics are fine. I like the plastic. It's very few components. I like the plastic in it. I think those are nicely made. The board is very nicely made. I just wish that the icons, so the animals, were as distinct and as readily obvious as the colors are. I found the player playing colors had an easier time playing than the one playing for the creatures, right? You're looking at the turtle, you're looking at the crab. At a glance, those are harder to tell apart than, red and blue. That's what I mean. So I wish it was just symbology, not an animal. If the color thing doesn't make sense, then the animal thing doesn't have to make sense, okay? Just make it really obvious. This one's a big square. This one's a star. This one's a circle. Forget trying to make it look like animals, because that player is having a harder time visualizing where they want to play and how, and the things they're attempting to do. So that's my main issue there. Replay value also gets a thumbs down. The game's really samey. 2 games in, you're feeling it. It's the same exact thing every time. The game arc, it doesn't quite get a thumbs down because I do like the movement part of the game. It makes, moving a tile first before you play leads to some interesting restricting of the board, separating of your opponent's groups, blocking. So a little bit of that is kind of interesting. There's a little bit of a game arc there. The ease of play is good. The game is extremely easy to play, though it is not easy to score, I would say. And my recommendation is the player who's playing colors, score them first, write down their score, and then the player who is playing creatures, remove their sets from the board as you score them. That's my recommendation, because it is harder to see the groups, I think, okay? Maybe that's just a me issue, but I find it to be, I worry I would miss something is what I'm saying. Lastly, tactics, strategy, luck. Yeah, there's some good stuff here. Some nice blocking, like I said, so that's kind of interesting. This is barely a thumbs up, because the game, again, is kind of down the middle of the road for me. But it is simple. There's some interest there. This is not a game that I would necessarily... If anybody came up to me and said, hey, I want to try that Aqualin game with you, I wouldn't say no, especially if I get to pick to be colors, But I also would never request this game. It's not a keeper for me. It's not one I'm going to be seeking out or bringing to the table myself. That's why it kind of gets a middle of the road score. So that's just how I feel about it. There's nothing here that's memorable. This is the kind of game that if it had not been published, we wouldn't be missing out on anything, is what I'm saying. In fact, it kind of feels like a game, that's maybe was out and got reprinted. It's not, but that's just how it comes across to me. So unfortunately, this one's not really a big recommendation. There's nothing necessarily wrong with the game. There's no glaring issues. Not really. But by that same token, there's nothing here that I would say you need to go and check this out, So there you go. This is going to get a 5 out of 10 from me, right down the middle. It's okay. And right now, I need games to be better than okay, and so do you, I think. At this point, you don't really need to settle for an okay 2-player game. There's tons of great abstract games. There's a ton of 2-player games that are not abstract. There's tons of games that are going to give you a feeling similar to this, but stronger and better. So there you go. That's it for me, everybody. That's Aqualin. My name is Zee Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.